Award winning himself, Mr. Arthur Robert Rowland. Can you say hi to the people?
Well, first, let me say, late happy birthday to you, and I'll say hi to everybody out there. I'm
Thank you.
awesome
Thank
glad
you
to be
so
here.
much.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I am so elated to have Mr. Rowland himself is a legend in
Oh, Lord,
music.
yes.
Oh my goodness. And it would take a week, at least a week, to go over his contributions to music itself. But just so elated that he said yes, he would come on and share just a little bit of the wisdom that he has with you all viewers, the artists, and all indies. And so, but without further ado, I want to start with asking uh, I'm gonna say Dr. Rowland because really and truly he's a Dr.
Wow,
Rowland.
wow, that's a lot of pressure, but we'll go with it.
Well, it's the truth. It's the truth.
All right.
Can you tell the audience how long you've been in this profession and what you specialize in?
Well, I've been in this profession about 40 years, and of course, I specialize in the actual technical side of producing projects, which uh, actually bringing out the quality, the mastering, and and of course, guitar is my thing. So most of the time, I do a lot of guitar work on projects.
And I know that for sure because I had never, ever, ever had a banjo incorporated in any of my music
Right,
until I had the pleasure of working with you.
right.
And when he incorporated the banjo in No Boundaries, it took the song to an entirely different level. And a lot of people, if you're not instrumentally inclined, you don't understand how different instruments can just really
Yeah,
open up a song or a production. So
correct,
yes,
correct.
he
So
is a
that's
specialist
kind of my
with it.
specialty. That's one of the things I do. Just kind of look for the pieces that are missing, things that enhance song that other people know. I kind of think outside the box on that.
Why is it important for you for the artist to be ready as an artist mentally when they begin booking you as a producer, booking you?
Well, I mean, everything that we do is pretty much mental. We have to really be focused on where we're going because, like, I guess what we say, time is money, right?
Yeah.
And everything we do, if we are very focused on what we're doing and we are organized about what we're doing, we spend less time because we understand that being in the studio, it's like a clock going. We're always spending money. So if we don't know what we're doing, then we could spend unnecessary money on what we're doing. But at the same time, if we know what we want to hear and we know what we want the final project to be, and we can articulate to the producers, then we're pretty much our own producers. And I like to work with artists. I like for the artists to produce themselves. And that's one of the unique things because you have a lot of producers that put their isms in everybody's stuff. So when you hear someone's song, you'll know who produced it. I'm not that person. I try to leave a song for an artist. And of course, you got to be mentally and spiritually prepared when you go out to perform because if you don't feel your song, nobody else is going to feel it.
That's true. That is true. That's right. That's right. And because feeling it is at least 50% of it. You
It
know, you
is.
get in there and you sing dry and routine.
It all comes out. It all should come out in the recording. All
It
your
sure
emotions,
does.
everything, you should feel it.
And I will never forget when we were working together on a song. It was a different song because we've worked together. I've had the pleasure to work with Dr. Rowland a couple of different times. And I remember you saying to me, "Oh, I hate that I let you hear the demo of the song because
Right,
he wanted me just to come in fresh and just sing whatever I felt." And then
right,
after he said that, I was like, you know what? Let me just retract everything, put this out my mind, and then I'll just lay down what I'm feeling. And
and you
so
always
he's right.
you always do excellent. For anybody that don't know, I'm telling you now that Shanrae Price is that chick. If you want some stuff done right, call her.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot of fun when we're in the studio together. I'm telling you, just get in there
Yeah,
and
we
lay
do.
some we got some stories. We got some stories.
Yes, we do. We do. But it's all been fun and it's been easy.
Yes, yes, I'm telling you. Explain to the audience what music production entails when it comes to getting your music to the correct entities that will expose the artist and expose your production to the proper to get the proper recognition?
Well, there are a lot of entities of music from CCM to gospel to Christian music. So you have to really know your music. You have to know you have to know your lane. Because if you're a quartet artist and you send your music to a contemporary station, most of the time you're not going to get played. So you need to know the entity that you're sending your music to, or the people that you're sending your music to, and know that it's a format for your music. Because otherwise you're wasting your time. People don't understand placement in music. That's very important. I see people all the time that spend thousands and thousands of dollars producing songs, and they spend $200 or $300 in just servicing for radio. I mean, unless you got a last name like a one name like a Taylor or a Beyonce.
Yes.
Everybody putting out music every day. So what makes you stand apart from everybody else? And it's all about how you release, when you release, and what you release.
That's true. So what is the best time? I wanted to ask you, do you think the best time to release music?
Well, I always think that if you want to be fresh on the first quarter of every year, try to get your music out. Most of the time artists are always producing music, but everybody in a Christmas mode the last 4 months of the year leading up to December. So if you could bypass that and have your music in the can and ready to go at the first quarter, February, January, then you kind of get the ups on everybody else.
Exactly. I've learned as an indie artist, because again, my history goes from being a professional background vocalist into moving into indie artistry, which is, it's like, thank God I have tenure in the industry, in the music industry. But moving into an indie artist, it's a lot of things you have to learn as that artist itself. And like you said, coming out the right quarter. If you drop, what I've learned, if you drop the music in that first quarter, like Dr. Rowland said, January, February, by the time the awards come around, your music have been right. Your music have been played so much and introduced throughout that year or so to the audience, and your audience has grown. Like your music has become like an anthem to them. So then that's when you start getting recognized.
Yeah. So it's a where and it's a when. It's a how. I'm a proponent of early releases, putting things out for pre-sales. That you can generate a lot of momentum with pre-sales. A lot of times, a lot of people don't know about pre-sales, but literally in pre-sales, if you start 3 weeks to 2 months before your album actually drops and just bank all of those sales at whatever it is, 99 cents a single. It doesn't even register until your single actually drops. And so it looks like it all happened in that week. And most of the time that shoots you straight to a Billboard.
It sure does.
And if you can do that and get on Billboard, then in the top 25, radio's going to already be playing your music. Now it's up to you to keep that momentum going. But it makes no sense to just spend thousands of dollars in music and then just drop it. I just put it out without any kind of work towards it. It's a campaign. Of course, and once radio gets it, you got to. I always tell people to try to get yourself familiar with the disc jockeys that play your kind of music.
Yes.
And do something. Make yourself personal. Do something with them. If it's nothing but just send a jingle, or a personal lead in for their radio station. They appreciate that a lot.
Yes, they do. You're right about that. And to actually piggyback off of what Dr. Rowland said is, look at what Kanye West just did with this new album, Donda. How long did he have the people? He had the people just stringing them along, seemed like forever. But it built up, like you said, such an anticipation. Until when Donda finally dropped, it was like, oh, I'm gonna get that song. I'm gonna get the album. Exactly. I'm definitely gonna get it. I've been waiting for like 2 months, So Dr. Rowland is absolutely right. Now I know we as indies, we're not Kanye West as of yet, but we can learn, like you said, we can learn by watching these these one name people or two name people,
Hmm.
Kanye West, the Beyonces, and all of them. Even though we may not have their budget, there's
That
still
method,
ways
the
that
method is
we.
still the same as it is before they were one name. Anybody knew about one name. They still release things the same way. And as independent artists, we have to learn these things because we could. The only thing about being an independent artist that's different from being a mainstream artist is you control everything about your music. So the things that a record company or a marketing label would do for you, you need to learn these things for yourself because you got to do them for yourself.
Exactly. And piggybacking again off of what you said, I have a more of a fondness for indies because I'm an indie. Like you said, we do everything, which teaches us how to be more resourceful.
Exactly.
You know, when COVID came in and it hit, a lot of these mainstream artists were suffering because they were used to that big machine record company behind them, that they had your marketing department, you had your wardrobe, you had your digital department, you had your graphics and all of that. So
Hmm.
with them being, everyone happened to be kind of, COVID isolated, they wanted to stay relevant. And so
Well,
they had to learn how to do what we already do all the time.
right. What they found out was they were very good with their live shows and everything, but this whole new streaming and virtual stuff was all new for a lot of people.
Okay, Dr. Roland, can you explain to the artists that are listening the legalities of masters, about maybe can the producer reuse that same music production for a different artist?
I think every artist needs to have an understanding with their producer, whether it's in written, writing, or verbal understanding, because based on if it's your work, no one else should ever be able to do anything with it that doesn't make you money or makes compensation for you or without your permission. That's a fact. I mean, you spend all of your time and all of your energy in somebody else's studio recording your music, but you leave it there. Now, the one scenario for that is, what if the house burns down?
Right.
Everything you ever done is gone with it. So when you leave that place, you should leave with all of your music, all of your work, take it with you. And you shouldn't have to go back for a mix down, a mix master, mix with mix minus, or which is a vocal without background without vocals and music, or music without any of that on it. You should get all that done while you're there, because what happens is if that song becomes a big song and then you have to go back to that same person to do that for you, they're going to charge you astronomically because of the fact that you have a big hit song now.
That's true.
So that's the thing I always tell people: take everything that you pay for with you. Don't leave anything for that artist. That's one way to alleviate hearing it again. Now, if you work out a deal where you're recording with some producer and he produces, and you're jointly collaborating on something, then y'all need to have an understanding, preferably written, because that's the only thing that's going to really stand up in the court, because the he say, she say stuff never does.
It never
So make
does.
sure that when you leave there, you guys have an understanding that if it's your work or something that y'all did together, that it needs to be a conversation between the two of you guys before he puts it out with another artist or does something else with it without your permission.
That is true. I wanted to mention about like Dolly Parton, for instance, the song "I Will Always Love You,"
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to show them some of your bullet points here. But we most ethnic people learned that song through Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, right.
They didn't understand that Dolly Parton is the one who wrote the song
Right.
and everything. And so when a big something, something kind of happened years ago where I think someone was just really trying to maybe start a little something, and Whitney Houston said what she said about how maybe her I don't want to state exactly what she said, but her presentation of the song she felt was better than the originators. And then the originator, which is Dolly Parton, came back and said, "I would like to thank Miss Houston for making me rich all over again."
Yeah, exactly.
Can you talk about that a little bit? With
Well,
the reusing
at
of
the
the
end of the day,
music and that.
it doesn't really matter what happens to the song after you published it and and copyrighted and everything, everybody and their mama might redo the song 1,000 times. But every time they do it, the money comes to you because it's your song. And you have all the copyrights, you have all the documentation, you have all the publishing for it. So that's how you cover yourself in the beginning, by getting all the copyrights and all the publishing for the song. Because you're going to hear a lot of people try to disguise your music or try to put out different versions of your music. But at the end of the day, that original copy, that originally copyright, is going to always predate everything they've done. So you can always fall back on that. And that happened to a lot of people. I think about 2 years ago, Pharrell and Robin Thicke did something with a Marvin Gaye song.
Yes.
And this is the funny technology, because this Shazam thing, it really, no matter what you put in it, it'll tell you who the artist is or what it sounds like or who it sounds like. And every time they would put that song in there, Marvin Gaye kept coming up. So they couldn't disguise it like that. So and Marvin Gaye's family didn't do anything about it until they accumulated millions of dollars. And then when they got their money.
Yeah, that's a smart strategy. That's actually a brilliant strategy. Let them do whatever they want to do.
Do what they're going to do, and then wait and get it all later. Exactly.
Right.
But they ended up having to pay them because it was Marvin's song that they sampled. So that's the importance of having your stuff copyrighted and having publishing done on it.
That's right. I can piggyback off of this with my project, my first project, long time coming. I redid "I Won't Complain," and but I didn't do the entire song. Of course, I added my own arrangements and stuff in it, and I actually added in a little bit of Tasha Cobbs, a little bit of her music, and then my arrangements. When it came down to getting everything copywritten and publicized and all of that, I had to give everybody their split. I had to give them all of that because Paul Jones, and then they were saying it was somebody before him that wrote "I Won't Complain," and then Greater, Tasha Cobbs. So she had to get her credit, and then really, I just got credit for just rearranging it. That was it.
Yeah, you get arrangement credit, but the author of the songs are the people that get paid. There are people that are sitting at home writing music every day that are richer than any of these people you see on TV every day.
Every single day, and they're doing an amazing job with
and
you're right, they don't have to be that forefront person. They really do.
Wait on the mailbox.
That's right. Yeah. Can you please tell the audience your music that you got your Grammy on?
Well, it's funny because, and this is something this is a key point I don't want anybody to miss this. If you go into this business looking to be famous, you're probably going to fail every time. Right. Do what you like, do it in excellence, and like what you do. Right. When you do those things, everything good follows that. My whole thing was, I was just out working on a new movie called The Wire, which was probably like 91, 92. Yeah. And the group that I was with at the time, the Blind Boys, were looking for, they were doing a theme song. They were looking to do a theme song with them on the front of the show. And we never thought that the show would be as big as it was. So as the show went, the song went, because every season that they would do the show, they might have a new artist doing the song, but it was always that song that was tied to the show, which was called "The Devil Down in the Hole," which was written by yours truly. So, as I said, so the show went, so my song went, but it was not something that I expected. So, yeah.
But I tell you, but with his diligence, that's why I said Dr. Roland, because he has been in this industry, worked it so long, been in so many different avenues, and like he said, just diligent and loving what he does, and it just paid off. Because how many of us really we're gonna play it, but when they hear your song, they be like, "Oh wow!" Right. Yes, right. So a lot of people, they don't put the writers with the music. Unfortunately, we just lost a very young writer, 49-year-old, and I can't remember her name right now. And most people would never know who she is, but they know the people that she wrote for, like Robin S. and different ones like that. She was an amazing writer.
Because we are kind of tuned into one genre of music. A lot of times, if we are African American, we kind of focus on R&B and so forth. but we
That's
don't
true.
understand that artists like R. Kelly are writing for Celine Dion and country
Yes,
artists. We never know that some of their biggest songs are with artists in other genres of music.
that's
And
right.
and I tell artists now that the best place to make a lot of money and easy money is try to get your music placed into movie soundtracks.
Yes, exactly. And again, Dr. Roland knows what he's talking about. That
Mm,
knows what he's talking about. Even our late great Pace,
mhm.
Berenice Pace.
Right.
She doors just opened up for her right before she passed, and the show that comes on, I think it's NBC or Fox.
Hmm.
Every week they're getting ready to start up again. You know they how they do the show seasonally, but
Right.
she sings "I'll always be," you know,
Right.
and it
Right.
went from local to now national, you know, and it just hit right on time, right on time. So that's what Dr. Roland is saying. He just be diligent, love what you do, and like he said, don't go and start and thinking that you're gonna be. I'm gonna be famous.
No, no, because you never know where that's coming from. Like I say, a
Right.
lot of times it comes straight down the road. Sometimes it drops out of the sky and comes from across the field. But at the end of the day, focus on what you're doing. And like I tell people all the time, do what you love and love what you're doing. And the rest
That's
of it
right.
take care of itself.
That's right. Okay, well, we're going to move on to our fifth and final question for the evening. And so it says, Dr. Rowland, can you explain to the audience the importance of the artist reading? And you hit on it a little bit earlier, reading and understanding their terms of agreement with you as the producer when it comes to the project that you're producing and with them.
Well, I mean, you don't want to birth a child and leave it with anybody to take care of. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have children, but when they were infants, you didn't just drop them off with anybody and everybody just say, take care of my child, I'll be back after a while.
Oh,
So
no,
you have to
no.
be the same way with your music. It's your creation, and you have to make sure that whoever it is that you have put trust in to articulate your music or your idea. You need to make sure that you guys are on the same page. And
That's
like I
right.
said, best thing about that is you spoken word and trust is one thing. But in the court of law, that doesn't stand up. So try to get something in writing if you can, because that's always going to supersede everything else about it. Because you may be getting along with somebody right now that's a
Mhm.
producer for you. It doesn't mean that 5 months from now y'all gonna like each other. So
Exactly.
you guys need to just cover your bases, because, like I said, if it's yours and it's your baby and your music, then you need to
That's
cover
right.
yourself in that. That's why copywriting and publishing is so important. I tell people those are things you got to put the cart before the cart. You got to get those things done before you share your music with the world.
That's correct. That is correct. That's right. So, and another important factor is it's important not to don't assume that every producer um, they do business. I'm sorry, business the same. Well, I'm saying music as well. That their music production is the same, because everyone comes again with their own unique
Hmm.
styles of production, and then also their business practices are not going to be the same as maybe another producer that you had hired to do something.
Exactly.
So, like Dr. Rowland was saying, it is imperative to, when you all sit down at the table and y'all start drawing up your paperwork, that you all get everything in agreement, because what you may be accustomed to doing with one producer, it may or may not happen with the next.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
And the no truer saying is it's just business. That's all it is. You
Yes,
cover yourself for the long haul, because, like I say every time, you don't know what kind of position you're gonna be in with that person next year. So just
yes,
cover
that's
yourself,
true.
and then it saves. Sometimes it saves friendships. It really does.
Yeah. It does. You're right. Those, and it doesn't even have to be a long contract. I know that when I do business, I do contracts. It doesn't have to be 20 pages,
Hmm.
1, 2, 3 pages, 2 pages, but long as it's cut and dry, y'all agreement is cut and dry. You have like I said, a mutual agreement, and y'all sign the paperwork and keep it moving. And if something needs to be amended or addendum later on, make sure that you all have that established initially. So
Exactly.
if you need to go back and redo something, then you all are in agreement and you'll redo your contractual agreement. Excuse me.
Read everything. Know what you
And
sign,
that,
how you sign it. Because I had an artist call me uh, that he had purchased the right to use a beat from some, some
yeah.
Joe Smoke. Just nobody really, but he liked the beat, so he purchased the Gordon song. The song blew up. It became a big song.
Mm.
Now, when he went back and looked at his purchase agreement, it said that he only had the right to use the song for a year, the actual beat for a year.
Really?
Yeah, so he had to go back and
Oh,
renegotiate. Now, you $20 million into a song. Now you know that if before he releases it again, he gonna hold you hostage for at least half of that.
that's
So
right.
that's how that worked. The guy ended up with about $10 million of his money because he
Wow.
didn't read the fine print. So always read.
Right, and I'm so glad. I'm going to reiterate what Dr. Rowland said. That's something that we really don't take out time to do, is to sit down, because it takes a little patience. But
Mhm.
it's imperative. It will save you so much in the long run. And don't be afraid of certain words. The blessing in Google and Webster's thesaurus and all of that, you can Google these words. It will break them down for you. I
Mhm.
mean, if you and then you can talk to an attorney and have a consultation and pay them to look at it. And they don't have to be a music attorney. Trust me, I know that. An attorney is an
Yeah.
attorney. You
You rather
know.
pay up now than the mistake costs you a lot later.
Exactly, exactly. Yes. So again, it's guys, it's imperative if you take the time, use a little patience. If we can fraction out time to go do something, maybe be on social media, use that time. You have some. We are constantly retraining our brain and retraining ourselves as we opportunities come our way. And so it's okay to retrain yourself to learn how to do things. And so you like Dr. Rowland said, you don't want to pay really bad later on when the opportunity really does come, and it's the opportunity that you've been hoping and praying for. You
Right.
know.
Right.
That's right. So, I mean, like I said, I'm so honored because Dr. Rowland he is a legend in this industry. In his can you tell the audience the type of music that you do, that like the genre of music that you do?
Well, I call my music soul inspiration. Um, and I just try to do, I started in gospel music, of course, but I try to do music for the masses, which it's a positive message, but, it's a feel good music. And there's not a lot of artists doing that. Um,
Mm-mm.
of course, when you go to concerts now, you find a lot of the R&B artists, they go to church in the middle of their concerts and whatever. So my whole thing is I keep it
Yeah.
churchy, but I try to do something that everybody can relate to.
And when I personally went to see Dr. Rowland, because he not only produces, he's an artist as well. And he does that soul type of that good soul, feel good music. Oh my, his following alone. Okay, they're waiting for him to come to town, so because he has that feel good soul type of music. Oh my gosh, and his fans, they were. I mean, I was sitting there like, oh my, women was just nutting up.
Well, it's an experience, and you try to tell people that you want
It
to take them on
is.
a journey. I'll tell people all the time. This is important, Shanrae. I'm not a performer. What I do is I tell people a story as I sing my song that came out of that story, and at the end of the night, we kind of develop a rapport with each other, and
Right,
they know a little bit more about me, and I know a little bit more about them, and it seems to be a
right.
formula that works. But I tell people all the time, it's an art doing what we do, and
Yes.
everybody thinks they can do it, but it's not so.
Oh no, I don't know too many people that can do what I saw you do. Like he said, he literally tells a story. And I mean, men and women equally are sitting there like, thinking like, what, he's right. And he's like educating people even through his music. And
Right.
like he said, at the end of the night, I've seen men, women come up to him and want to have a conversation.
Sure, and that's when you know you've been successful at what you do, because at the end of the day, all music is a relationship, and
Right.
whether you have and out, that's like we said earlier, you have to have a relationship with music you do. If it doesn't do something for you, how do you expect it to touch other people?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Listen, this show, this here segment, the producers too. This evening has been amazing. And again, I am so honored to have, like I said, Dr. Roland, because he qualifies to be called Dr. Roland with everything that he's contributed in the music industry. So I'm going to continue to call him Dr. Roland. And it's just an honor to have him come here and share just a small portion of the things that he knows, his wisdom, sharing it with you all, and then passing it along, and then wishing you well on top of that.
Hmm.
Because, he and I both know we've experienced working with some mainstream artists that really don't want, they know it's a lot of up and coming talent and talent that's there, but
Yeah,
they could care less whether or not you make,
they're
they're
not trying
hoping
to
you
they're
don't
not
make
trying
it
to share their
actually.
secrets with you, because at the end of the day, they're always trying to stay on top of their game. So
Right.
you'd be surprised about people that are fearful of up and coming artists, because
Yeah.
I mean, once you become mainstream and you take over what they're doing, what's left for them to do? You replace them. So they're not going to share everything with you, but it's good that you learn and get knowledge for yourself, and there are people out here that can help you do that.
That's right. And I wish that they didn't think that way, because the music industry is it's so huge. I don't think anyone can be replaced, or to look at the longevity of a lot of our great artists like the Rolling Stones.
Hmm.
Look at music, you don't age out of that. You really don't. So the Rolling Stones are still going on tour. What did they last? They said they last tour, and they're still packing out arenas.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
music is eternal.
it is
And
eternal.
the
You're
and the
right.
message is universal as well. So the eternalness and the universalness of music, it makes it last forever, because we're still listening to songs from the '50s from Motown, and that's just as big now as ever. So I mean,
Yes.
we need to understand that, when particularly in gospel music, because gospel music is probably one of the most popular genres of music, but
Right.
it's the least lucrative, and there's something wrong with that.
Yes.
And
You
most of it is because we don't take time to learn the business side.
right. Exactly. Dr. Roland he's speaking the God's honest truth right now. That's right. But we can, we're still in a position where we can turn that around. And we
Absolutely.
can, because we really are top, like Dr. Roland said. And then from my experience, and I know with his, most of these record labels and stuff, they come looking in the church
And
for the best.
most of the artists that have longevity started in the church.
In the church musicians, church singers, and they know because we are the best. So we, like he said, education is the key. Education and being stable, longevity, and being patient. Like Dr. Roland said, be patient, and it's gonna work for you. He's a living testimony. Look at he
Yeah,
Grammy Award winner.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, as we said, it's about. I mean, I look at some of the artists now. I look at some of the great artists that everybody's flocking into, the Kirk Franklins, the Mary, the Mosses, and whoever the top artists are, the Tamala Mans. But the
Yeah.
funny thing about these artists is they are kind of a slave to an engine. And I tell people, as indie artists, you have more power than these artists do. Now you just got to figure out how to take that power and harness it to make you that money. But the reason
Yes,
that the tickets are going up so much is because that's the only way the artists make money.
that's right.
When they do these deals with record companies, it's not in their favor.
No, it's not.
So yeah, they'll sell you sold 20 million records, but when you get your percentage out of it, and they come to tell you that, well, they spent this much on marketing, this much on production,
Right.
I mean, your check breaks down to $100,000. You sold 20 million records and you only get $100,000. So
I'm
that's
so
the
glad
business
that you
side of
said
it.
that.
That's why I
Yeah.
tell artists that it's good to be in charge of your own music, and that's what makes you an indie artist. when you
That's
charge
right.
everything. If you notice now, in the last 2 years, I think everything that's on major award shows that are winning are independent artists.
Yes, you're right. You are absolutely right. The indies are winning. Yes. So, Dr. Roland, how can the people connect with you on social media? Can you give them your handles?
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, therealarthurroland.com. And that's therealarthurroland.com. That's my website. Or you can catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Arthur Roland. It's just that simple. Just use my name. If you put my name in, it should come up. And also on YouTube, you put in The Real Arthur Roland, you should be able to pull up all my music, all my videos, and everything on YouTube. So now I think that works for TikTok and Snapchat and Tumble and everything else. So I have a presence in all of those. So just put in at Arthur Roland.
I love it. I need to catch up with you because I'm not on Snapchat or Chat or Tumblr, but I guess I need to.
There you go.
I'm telling you. Okay, so Dr. Roland, if someone wants to book you, can you share your booking information with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, there's a form on my website that tells you all my dates, has the calendars on there, and it also tells you how you can book me and what my requirements are. And we can have a conversation about it. I know that we're in a time where everybody's finance is not the same, but I'd rather be a blessing than lose a blessing. So just reach out to me and we can make something happen.
And I know that to be true and to be certain. Dr. Roland has a heart for artists, for indies especially. And like he said, reach out to him, have a conversation, because you will be surprised. You will, but you're gonna love your results too. With him, you're gonna love what he does. And I am so elated to have Dr. Arthur Robert Roland on this evening as one of my guest panelists, the legendary Dr. Robert Roland. I tell you, and he just was so willing to just give wisdom nuggets to you all on this evening. Take it, run with it, because it's gonna work. Dr. Roland, thank you.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you for having me. And like I said, it's the vast topic, and it probably a 4-part series. So hopefully we get a chance to come back again and answer some questions from your audience.
We would love to, because this is the producers too. We started earlier this year with producer Glenn, and so you're right. I think that there are so many parts to production that people need to know. Right. And you as a producer, Glenn as a producer, Dupree as a producer, myself as a producer, it's so much that we can share and help people along. And so you're right, we're gonna have to do a producers part 3, probably starting the beginning of next year.
Look forward to it, and hopefully.
Oh my goodness, we would love to have you back. Yes,
right. God bless you.
God bless you. And I have the pleasure of interviewing my better half, my partner, producer Dupree Owens. Yes, so it's important to be able to highlight your partner, someone that you work with, and know that you work strategically with, and he is absolutely excellent in what he does as a producer. So I have to treat him the same way I treat. Thank you. Yeah, I have to treat him the same as I treat my other 2 artists on this evening. Producer Glenn GP Piper, as well as the legendary Dr. Roland, Arthur Robert Roland himself. Also my boy. Yes. So, all right, without further ado, I want to go on and just jump right in on the questions, starting with number 1. So, Mr. Dupree Owens, can you explain to the audience what you specialize in as a producer, your specialty, and also how long have you've been in this industry here?
Well, me, as a producer, I specialize in bringing people's artists' music back to life. The music that they've done, maybe 5, 10, 20 years ago that they want to revive and want to remix. That's what I specialize in doing. That's my nick right there. You know, I like to bring people's music back to life that they've already done. But I do original music as well.
Yeah.
But most of the clients that I get, they just want their stuff remixed.
Which is fine. Which basically, I can attest for this. He really does. He like recreates the song. It's like brand new anyway. So, and how long have you been in this industry?
Been doing music professionally for about over 20 years.
Wow.
But I started, I started playing drums, and then from there I started playing the bass, and then from there I started playing the keys. And that's when I named myself as the One Man Bandit, because I pretty much do 3-4 instruments, basically.
He actually can.
They just started calling me the One Man Bandit, so I stuck with it.
And it's a sight to see. We have been in church services. Of course, anybody knows anything about the Church of God in Christ, or church services where I mean, he will get up from the keyboard and go play on the drums, and then go from the drums and then go play the bass guitar, and just fill in and do everything. So he really is what you call the one man bandit. Why is it important for the artist to be ready vocally and lyrically when booking you, for your production?
It's important to be ready lyrically, because you want to know your lyrics. I've sat in sessions, whether it's my session or somebody else's session, and the artists, they're trying to get it together. They're fumbling around with their papers, trying to understand their lyrics and trying to get the lyrics, because they didn't learn them. Basically they didn't learn the lyrics, so they're trying to okay, their main focus was if I come in and feel it, I can just flow, and sometimes it's not always like that. A lot of people can't do that. Some people can do that. Even rappers. You got rappers that flow off the top of their head, but you got some rappers, that can't do that. That don't mean that they're not good. It's just that they have to study. They have to study their lyrics and stuff like that. But they wrote them. Right. They wrote them, so it's so. Lyrically, you want to know your lyrics. It helps too, and then also vocally wise, you want to train yourself. You want to train your vocals before you get there. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good idea to get with a vocal coach, but some artists don't need vocal coaching. But even if you do, I think sometimes vocal coaches, they know stuff that you might not know. You know what I'm saying? Even the best artists, I've seen them with vocal coaches. You know what I'm saying? So it's no different. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these artists that I deal with are independent. So a lot of times, that's a whole nother subject, but I'm going to go somewhere else when I can't do that. But a lot of times, because of the finances or something like that, they just stay away from the vocal coach. But that's a whole nother subject, because that'll be the next time we come back. Invest in your craft, regardless of anything. But when we come back, we'll go over that.
Now, and I'm going to add to what he just said, because I have been a professional singer and vocalist my entire life, moved into well over 30 years. So moving from being a professional background vocalist, studio session singer, professional into becoming my own artist and the lead singer, the artist, the main artist, I had to kind of retrain myself, because being a professional studio vocalist or singer, most of the time you come into the studio and you learn the music right then and there. So I treated it the same way when I stepped out and became my own artist, Shanrae, the artist. And so, that's working with Dupree, with the One Man Bandit. That's one of the things he would always say, Shanrae, I want you to get comfortable with your music. Well, so we're not wasting too much time when we going in and doing, the studio session work. And so I had to retrain myself as the artist to learn my own music, get comfortable with my own music. And so I can get in the studio, I can knock it out, and don't be there all day, all night. So that is very, 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 I'm telling you, that's something I struggled with moving over into the artistry itself. Okay, so I want to ask question number 3. Dupree, can you explain to the audience what music production entails when it comes to vocal arrangements and vocal placements?
Vocal arrangements and vocal placements. So vocal arrangements, I feel, you know, the way vocal arrangements is the way you sing your song. That's what vocal arrangements is to me. The way you sing your song. You might come in and we might say, okay, all right, here's your track. You know, we want to hear what you're going to do. Or you might come in mild, start the song off mild, and then in the middle, just turn it up just a little bit. And then at the end, go in. You know what I'm saying? Or you can, another vocal arrangement, you can, you know, start the song off with a low key. And then by the time you know, get to the next key, you're up high. Then go up to the next key, then you're higher. It's all your vocal arrangement, what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Even when you arranging your backgrounds, it's all about the arrangement of the backgrounds. You might do your background a different way when you're doing your chorus, but you'll do it another way when you're doing your bridge. And then when you come out, you got that drive. You're not going to stick to the same chorus. You might want to change it up and arrange it differently. You know, so and that ties into placement too, because placement you have like in songs you have your outro, you have your intro, you have your bridge, your chorus, your verses, you know, your drive, you know, you got a pre-chorus that you can throw in there. That's placement, wherever you want to place something. So a good example of placement, like I back in the day I did a song and dope intro, man. I was like, oh, this intro is dope. Well, I need to put this intro like before I go out, before the outro. So right after the bridge, I placed that intro again, right after the bridge. You know, we did it a different way, but it was still the intro. So what I did was made the intro, I did the intro, then the verse, chorus, then the verse, then the chorus, then the bridge, then I went right back into the intro. You know, that's placement to me. You know, it depends on where you place and everything within the song. You know, so.
All right. All right. There's nothing for me to piggyback off of because he hit it dead on the nose. Exactly. And you know what I can add to this as artists, as the artist, we have to trust our producer. We have to trust the producer and the engineer, knowing that they're going to make our production or our words and our song, they're going to make it so presentable for radio, for your viewing, or for your listening audience, and for the if you're going to add it to a video, it's going to be so catching to the ear. I know visually to the eye right now is what we're doing, but to the ear. And the good thing about when you're listening to music, you don't have to be concentrating and watching the radio while you're doing it, but just listening. And then when certain songs are changed, for example, Beyonce did Before I Let Go. She did that song of Before I Let Go. And then her bridge, she went into down, bum, bum. That's something exactly what I would have done to the song. I love it because that's something I would have done to remake that song. And the way she placed it, before I let go, and then went right into that placement. Whoever produced that with her, I don't know the producer, and the engineer, what they put together, it was all, and then went right back into and ended it with Before I Let Go. So what he's saying is, it is so true when it comes to placement and when it comes to your music. Question number 4, Dupree. Can you explain to the artist the legalities with the masters to the music? Does the producer own the publishing of the song, since they're the ones who originated the master track? So the producer, are they do they own the publishing rights, or do the artists own the publishing rights?
So when it comes to masters, um, like for example, when I produce somebody, I give them everything that they need. Um, I give them the basic track. I give them the instrumental, um, and I give them the performance track where they can go out and perform. So performance track, just to reiterate what the performance track is. Performance track is a track where the artist, there's no lead vocals in it, but you still have like the ad libs and the backgrounds and the music in it. The instrumental track has just got the music in it. That's it, and then the whole track is just the whole song altogether. I give them that, and then and also you can do a radio edit, and you can do the long version. You can do all of that. So, and when it comes to the masters, a lot of times what I'll do, so they have it, I give them each track individually. So once I give them each track, like if I do a drum track and all, for instance, if they use 48 tracks, between the combinations and joining tracks together, by that time it'd be like 40, 35 tracks. They're gonna get all each track, because what's gonna happen is they own that. They already paid me that, and you have producers that work. Once you pay them, they have a flat rate. You know what I'm saying? So most time I go by like a flat rate. But you also got producers that go by hourly and stuff like that. So it might be a little bit different from them, but most of the time, whoever finances the music, whoever finances the recording, owns the master. That's just the way it is. When they pay me for the recording of it. So I automatically give them everything. You know what I'm saying? I still have my original data that I record for myself, and they can't take that. Because if they take my music and try to run with it, or they don't give me no credit, or they trying to jip me, I'm from New York. They ain't gonna do that. So I still got my data and all that stuff embedded in the track. Trust me, they're not gonna steal nothing. But they still got they own the masters to it. So I do that. And if there's a producer out here that don't do that and they're holding on to it and saying that they own it, I don't, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? If they paid for it, they pay. Now, if you with a record label, they pay for it, they own it.
And that's what we're seeing. I'm sorry to interject, but that's what we've been seeing during with Anita Baker. Anita Baker asked everyone, please don't play her music on the radio until she gets her masters, because the agreement that Anita Baker had years ago when she was out as a mainstream artist, I guess whoever the record label and them, they owned her masters all the way up to 30 years. 30 years came and gone, and then I guess she had to get an attorney to fight for them, but she won because legally, and that was with the record company years ago, legally they owned it for 30 years. So she lived out that contract, and now they're hers, which means she gets all her royalties and everything for that. And there are other people who fought for their masters as well. But and again, that is record label. We are independent artists. As Dr. Rowland said a little bit during his as Dr. Rowland said, he said, as indie artists, we are at an advantage because we're the ones who are financing everything. Not the big machine is not financing us, so we don't owe them blood, and we don't owe them blood. So whatever we do, we own. That's the good thing about that. So
even with publishing, it's the same thing. Like whoever wrote the song, you have an artist to sing. Like if Shanrae sings a song and somebody wrote it for her. Whoever wrote the song, publishing really goes by the composition, of whoever wrote the song. If I did the music or whatever, I get the publishing off of it. Because whoever wrote the lyrics, they get the publishing off of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, basically, that's the way it is. The good thing about owning your own masters, man, you can do whatever you want with your song. I mean, you can sell it to TV.
Yeah.
You can do commercials with it. You can radio, whatever you want to do, because it's your song. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's why you need to own your masters. But if you don't own your masters, you can't do all of that stuff without permission. So that's why it's good to. That's why masters is good to have.
Well, Dupree, we're on our fifth and final question with you, and I'm going to ask you your segment of this question. Dupree, can you explain to the audience the importance of artists reading and understanding their terms and agreements when it comes to recreating their song during recording sessions, which pushes the project, which can push it back or most likely will. The importance of them not to get in and continue to recreate the song during the slotted out recorded sessions.
Yeah. So this I'm just gonna say it just like this. Don't waste our time. Don't waste our time. Even if you have a producer, a good producer is gonna do everything the right way. He's gonna prepare. If he knows the artist is coming, he's gonna prepare to do the right things. He's gonna prepare that you're gonna listen to the track, you're gonna listen to the lyrics, you're gonna listen to the way the song's supposed to go. Even if you don't have the lyrics, if they haven't sung yet, if it's fresh and new, he's still gonna look at the lyrics and learn them. He's gonna listen to the music. He's gonna have all the tracks prepared ahead of time. You have to name all the tracks so you know what you're doing. Your track, your drum track, your bass track, your keys, or your sample that you're running, and then prepare for the solo artist. You might have 4 lead tracks, and then you have the backgrounds, and however way you do it. I'm not gonna give out my secrets, but however way you do it, you might have the backgrounds done and stuff like that. Your pans or whatever. However way you do it, a good producer will have all that stuff set up before the artists get there, so that way his time won't be wasted. That's a good producer. But I've seen producers where they gyp you, and you come in, if you're paying by hour, you come in and let me set this mic up right here. Oh, you need this mic. Oh, right there. That's how if these speakers not working, let me see what's going on. All right, let me go on and set these tracks up. All that's on your dime. Just watch out for it. I'll tell you, they do it. So anyway, even with the solo artists, vice versa, you want to do the same thing. Don't waste. If somebody coming in and they don't really know how they're going to sing the song or whatever, they haven't studied it, they haven't practiced it, they haven't, really listened to it, but you want to come in and record, and I'm going to just do it on the fly because, this is how it's supposed to go. Well, a lot of times when that happens, then you're wasting time because you can learn your stuff at home. I mean, there's plenty of devices that you can really record yourself on. You can record yourself on your phone. There's no need to waste anybody's time anymore. You can play the music, record on your phone, and you get basic ideas. There's a program where you can use tracks that you can record on the phone. It ain't gonna be perfect, but at least you have an idea of what it's supposed to sound like. That way, when you get in the studio,
You're prepared.
You're prepared.
Right.
Period.
And if I can interject, me again, being an artist, along with being a producer as well. But we get so many ideas running through our heads while we're sitting there and we're recording and we're singing. And, it's okay to go back and say, let me do this takeover. But it's a difference between doing a takeover and just trying to totally reinvent the wheel, the song. Listen, a lot of things that come to our head when we're in there recording or we laying our tracks down. Remember, you can always save it for your live performance. Save it for your live performance. Don't give everything away on the album. Make sure that you get you on your single or on your EP. Just sing it. Knock it out the box. Feel your song. Knock it out the box. But remember, you want to do it live. When you do it live, that's when you can incorporate all of the ideas, all of the tricks and the flips, everything, and again, I can say this because I am an artist. We start hearing all kinds of beautiful, wonderful ideas when we're in there laying our tracks down and singing. But remember, we can always save that good stuff for live performances.
Yeah, to piggyback on what she said, what she's saying. Like for example, I had one time where we was in the studio back in the day, and we had 3 sessions set up, and we was paying by hour, hour. Somebody else paying, and by hour. So we have 4-hour blocks. So we're in there, and the artist we got through the first session, which 4 hours. Got through that. Finally got through that. And I was like, okay, we're good. The next session was supposed to be just brushing up on things, stuff like that. And so we listened to it once we finished, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's just knock that bridge out. I want to do it all over again, and we're gonna do it like this. Okay, no problem. Second session, okay, we'll knock it out. Y'all paying, so whatever. Third session come, okay, I didn't like the way the music is going. Can we switch now the producers are getting like upset, like, okay, I don't care what you're paying for. We're not going to keep going back and forth, changing. You're wasting time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting our time. I understand you're trying to get it right, but the song is good. Trust us, the song is good. We're just going to leave it like that. Whatever. And if they told us the same thing. You can do it live. Do whatever you want to do, or do it on a remix. With this song right here, we haven't. At this particular point, they were signed to a record label, so they had a deadline.
Right.
So,
and the session equipment is so advanced now until they just fly. You can sing one good track and they fly it. And what that means is they're gonna duplicate the track. How many times they feel they need to duplicate it to get the sound that you need for the song. So I have the blessing to know how to know where I came from, where we had to do everything step by step, versus now where you could come in and give them one good thing and they can just fly it or duplicate it. So again, with that, which cuts down on so much time.
yeah,
It really does. But we can't assume that they're available for us all day unless you're paying for that 8, 10, 12-hour slot. So
yeah, if you're paying for that, that's one thing, you're paying for it, but sometimes even when you're paying for it, I've seen where artists were paying for all these slots, right? And then something happened. There was an oops that happened. And she had a deadline, but because she didn't finish the song on time, she had to wait till another artist finished their song. Then had to come back in there and try to finish it up before the deadline. With them oopses that happen,
right,
to where, because they're not just booking with you, they're booking with other artists too.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I've seen that stuff happen, and it doesn't matter if I had this slot. No, wait, hold on. Did you read the fine print?
Right.
Sometimes not like that. So, yeah, I mean, just the whole thing I want to reiterate is, and I've been trying to say the whole time, just be prepared. Learn your music, learn your craft, learn your vocal arrangements, learn what you want to do before you get in there. Get these little programs that you can put on your phone and try to record yourself. I mean, even these babies nowadays are recording themselves.
Yeah.
So anybody can do it, you know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be perfect. At least it's better than coming in with nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That way you won't waste your time. You won't waste the producer's time. And then once the producers start getting then when it comes to missing your stuff, they're gonna half do it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna half do it. They're not gonna really, you want them to be 100%. You know what I'm saying? So don't, I don't want to say the word, but don't get them upset. I'll just keep it up. Don't get upset.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but basically, yeah, just be prepared, know your craft, and make these producers happy, and they're gonna make you happy. If you come in here and make me happy, I'm gonna make you happy. I'm gonna, if you come in here prepared, I'm already prepared. You know what I'm saying? So I need you to come in prepared for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make it work for you.
And to piggyback off of what Dupree is saying, it shows your level of professionalism as an artist. When you come in, you're ready. Like he said, you're prepared. You know your lyrics. You know your music. You know you have a good feel. You stick to your slotted out time, whatever however you pay for it, whether it's 4 hours or 1 hour or whatever. When you can be there on time, be ready, get it done, because all of that is also a part of our artistry. You want to be known as a professional artist, not only professional, not only a great artist or a great singer or a great performer, but a professional at the same time. You're professional, and that you can and people would want to work with you. So
That's
well,
it. That's
yes.
it.
Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Dupree, the one man band Owens, for being my October 2021 Indie Artist Panel guest. And so, how can the audience, how can the people reach you and connect with you on social media?
Well, you can go to Facebook. I'm on there, Dupree Owens. You can go to Instagram, Dupree Owens. I am on TikTok. I am on Twitter. And I do have a YouTube page, Dupree Music, and it's also under the One Man Bandit YouTube page. But if you put in Dupree Music, all of that comes up. If you put in the One Man Bandit, all of our work is going to come up, even Shanrae's work.
Okay, so he's on all social media platforms. So if someone wants to book you for production, how can they reach you?
You can email me at theremusic@gmail.com.
Well, we are coming to the closing of this Indie Artist panel, and I want to personally thank you, Dupree, the one man band, and Owens, for being my guest panelist on my October 2021 Indie Artist panel. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving so much of yourself, the wisdom that you have for those aspiring producers, for artists in indie or mainstream. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being my guest on this evening, and I look forward to inviting you to be my guest once again on the Producers 3 in 2022 of next year. So God bless you.
Thank you so much, Shanrae. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Thank you, baby.
And I am so elated. We have our Mr. Producer Extraordinaire back again, producer Glenn G.P. Piper himself. Welcome, 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 Glenn.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me again. I'm excited to be here.
Well, you know that this show, this segment, the Producers too, it was inspired by you, because when I had you on earlier in the year, you were saying that, you really need to do a part two and like bring some other producers on and get their perspective and everything from it. And so I was like, that's a great idea, because it was so much that you could not hit on the first time. And that, we can open up a little bit more about, and Arthur Rowland, he was saying that y'all actually need to have another one, a part 3, because it's still so many parts to this. Yes, and so again, we have Mr. Glenn G.P. Piper, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire. I'm so glad that he was able to get his schedule, because he's a very busy man. So his schedule allotted him to come back on to do the Producers Part 2. So for those that you and your body of work and your contribution in the music industry, can you explain to the audience what you specialize in as a producer again, and how long that you have been in this industry?
I've been in this industry over 20 years as a musician first, and then I started producing, I want to say about maybe seriously about 15 years ago. And so I've always specialized in arrangement and composition and taking people's songs from, whether it be from scratch or whether it be from rough stages and bringing it to life. Also, tailoring to that particular artist, because I think it's important that when you producing a song that it tailors to that artist and it doesn't take them out of their I don't want to say like comfort zone, but it kind of keeps them in what's good for them, for their voice and for their style.
The question for you, Glenn, is why is it important for the artist to be ready financially when they are booking you, VDMU Groove music for production? Why is it important for them to be financially prepared?
That's a good question. For one thing, artists have to realize that as producers, we have multiple clients. And so we're always working with different clients. And so when an artist contacts us, it's important that they have, first, they have a vision, and they have a timeline of when they want to release. And so after the first consultation, we discuss like, hey, what are you trying to do? And what do you want to be? And then we let them know, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to get here. And this is the time frame that you want to do it in. And so it's important that after we have that initial consultation and we let you know how much the cost is, it's important that the next step to move forward to make sure that you have all your finances together in order that we can move forward smoothly so that we don't have any hiccups. I'll give you an example. A lot of times we'll come in, we'll say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. And we get an initial deposit, and then we'll start on something. And then the person or the artist, whoever it may be, say, well, I had a couple of setbacks, and so can we do that? Now we can do that, but what that does is it kind of shifts the time frame of what you're trying to get done. In fact, we have other clients that we're working with, and so if you're trying to get something done in a month's time, and if your finances not lined up, so a month can turn to 3 or 4 or even 6 months because you missed that window of time. Because so we like to strategic, and so if you miss your particular schedule, then that kind of shifts everything back, and then we might have to get to you later. Artists, you have to realize that you are not the only client that these producers are working with. Especially if a producer is good at what you do.
Yes.
You're not the only client that he's
No.
going to be working with.
The person who does not understand the difference between whether you are a mainstream, a Timberland, the difference between a Timberland and a BDMU Groove, Glenn GB Piper, both of y'all are, wicked when it comes to production. Wicked. And so I think that sometimes people don't understand the magnitude of scheduling and how we're being scheduled and booked in our clientele. A great producer is a great producer. Okay, so question number 3 for you, Mr. Piper. Can you explain to the audience what music production entails for you when it comes to making music tracks?
Okay, for me, it starts with the song first. I'll give an example. Sometimes artists come with songs, whether it be from scratch, and so what we have to do is we have to decide what arrangement we're going to do on that song, the structure of the song, whether it be how long would the intro be? Is it going to be a verse? How long is the verse? Chorus? Would there be a bridge? If not a bridge, or will we go straight to the vamp? So the structure of it, of how the song will play out, and then the last thing is I would say, fitting that song for that particular person's voice, and that goes with if they're not a writer, if they don't have a song already, written, and they want us to write a song, then finding a right song for their voice, that's very important. And even writing arranging the lead vocals, background vocals, if they're not that strong of a singer,
Right.
then you know, how can we make the backgrounds around them, you know, so to help support their vocals, you know,
Say
and
that
then
again.
also
It can help support, not run
help support,
over, not
not run over, not run over,
right.
and that's very important.
I wanted to share with the audience, if you didn't mind. I love how you
Oh
showed
yeah,
a sample of what artists should look for when it comes down to the cost and the sample and the services that they're acquiring from producer. Did you want to highlight that?
yeah, I will highlight that. Now this is just our format of how we do things. Now, you know, other producers might do different things. Maybe they might just do the production side of it and the engineering side. But with us, when clients hire us, we kind of give them from beginning to the end, full finished product, so they know what they're paying for. Whether production, the arranging, the recording, the editing, we charge a certain amount for that. Whether you hire live musicians, whether it be guitar player, bass guitar player, live drums, studio calls, whoever's mixing, whoever's mastering it. We do artwork too, promo, whether it be marketing, visual, tagging, coding. It's a lot of stuff that we included in our price. Things that you have to get done, and I think it helps artists to understand. Okay, you know, this is what I'm gonna have to spend, in order to have a full and complete project ready to go, ready to distribute nationwide. And we do it like this because a lot of times, artists will say, "Well, wow, it costs too much. It costs this, and you guys charge this, and you guys charge that."
Mm.
Okay, you have to understand it's just not us; it's a team of people.
It's a
So,
team.
so
Yes.
I mean, if you break it down, how much is the engineering cost?
Right.
How much if they don't do their own backgrounds, you got to bring in background singers. You
That's
got to pay
right.
them too. How much
That's
do
right.
they charge? How much do the musicians cost?
Yes.
And if you're hiring somebody to do artwork, how much they gonna charge? We kind of factor in all that price, and then when you start chipping away at that total cost, then as producers, you're really not making
Right.
that much money. You know,
No.
you don't really
And
make
the
that much
artists, they
money.
don't understand it. The clients, they
Right.
don't understand that.
And
You
this is
know.
why I like to break it down so anybody can know, okay, when these producers charge
Right.
what they charge, you're not just paying them. It's a team that they
It's a
use.
team.
It's kind of like giving them an itemized list of
Yes.
what
That's
it's going
exactly
to
what
cost.
you do, what y'all are doing.
Yeah,
Y'all are giving, and which to me is a wonderful courtesy.
right. And
You
we don't
actually
have to
took
do
a lot of
that.
right.
Right.
You answered most of the initial questions, or giving them the initial foundation of what an aspiring artist or any artist needs to do in order to get their project going,
Right.
started
Right.
and going. And
Right.
that's a courtesy, because I mean, you basically made it easy for them. You're
Yeah,
making it
exactly.
easy with them, with the providing all of these services in one. They can what initially draws the artist to you all is the quality that
Yeah, the
they
quality.
hear and see. And so when they come to you, they should understand, you're helping them understand this is why the quality of the sound and the visual and everything is because of the team, and this is what it takes. Explain to the artist the legalities with the masters to the music. Like for instance, does the artist own the masters to their own songs when they're working
Now
with producers?
that's a good question. But I would say most of the time, you know, if an artist is paying for the product and they finance everything, they do own their masters. You know, however, if they're not the songwriter and they're not the copyright owner, you know, they can own masters, they can own the recordings, but they can't license anything out. They can't control anything because they don't actually own the actual song. We pay for the record and everything, you know, blase blase. Okay, yeah, we give you the master recording, you know, whether you can, you know, duplicate what you want. But if anybody comes to you and say, okay, we want to use a song in a movie, or you want to use this and that and blase, what they're gonna do is, because I've had this happen before, what they're gonna do is they're gonna contact the copyright owner, you know. And so if you haven't copyrighted it, if you don't own the lyrics, whether you sung on it or not, you know, if you're not the copyright owner, then you really can't license that song out. It's just real important to own your message, because you can do whatever you want. You have creative control to do what you want. And most of the record labels, you know, they own their masters. They can release music when they want to release it, and they don't have to tell you. And then they can tell you, like, hey, we it's your song, you sing this song here, because they own the master.
Right. And I'm going to interject, because we've seen a lot of examples down through the years. First of all, the first thing you stated was that if whoever paid for the recordings, they're the ones that get the masters.
Right.
Well, we know years ago, and I know because I worked with her, Mariah Carey, she had her first album. She had an issue like that because at the time, her stepfather, her mother's husband at the time, he financed the first project, and he's the one that got paid for it. So it was a hefty lesson, but she openly talked about that, how you whoever finances it, they own whatever, and they're the ones that get the compensation. And then you said if somebody has the masters later on, well, we know that Martha Walsh from the 2 Tons of Fun, they started out, or the Weather Girls years ago, and she started singing with other people such as CNC Music Factory and everything, and unfortunately, because she did not own the masters to the music that she recorded, and I believe she was the writer. I could be wrong now, but she did not own the masters. So even to this day, when she's doing interviews, they can't really play the music because she doesn't own the masters. And they have had several other artists sing that song, Cry a Deep Love. They've had, because she did not own the masters. So you are dead on it.
Okay, let's take it to independent artists. You know, you sell 5,000 copies, sell 10,000 copies. It may not seem like a lot.
That's a lot.
5,000 copies, and I just go old school, like 5,000 copies at $10 a pop.
Woo!
How much is that? Like 50,000.
50,000. That's 50,000.
50,000 that you don't have to share with nobody.
Nobody.
The only benefit I would say of being with a label is they can get it out to everybody all at the same time. But then on the back end, how long is it going to take you to actually recruit?
Right.
You're right. So you got good music out there, but you know you're not receiving any residuals. You're not receiving any revenue. You're not receiving things that's gonna set you up, take care of your family in the long run. That's another thing. Why you should own your masters, because after you gone,
yes,
there's so many people dealing with that now. After you gone, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your offspring, your you know, the people generations, they have a legacy that you have left, you know.
Yes.
The publishing and your masters. That is your insurance, and that is your intellectual property, and that is going to be your network.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
And I love how each one of my guests for this quarter, how y'all are so freely, you're just so big-hearted enough to share this is some valuable information. And a lot of people, especially up-and-coming artists, now I don't even want to say that, it's a lot of veteran artists that's been out there that they don't understand the importance of what you all are sharing right now on this panel.
They just don't know.
They don't know the copywriting, your masters, who financed what. All of this, and how things are splits with everything, and how, what's the legalities of it. And I'm just, I love how free-hearted that you all are, and you just don't mind sharing the knowledge and the experience, because it's the experience too now, because we as veteran producers, because like you've got 20 years in, I've got 30. I got 30 years in. So we had to learn from falling.
A lot of clients that come to us, when we get ready to register, it's okay. Do you have a PRO? They say, what's a PRO? It's a performance rights organization. I mean, you have to know this type of stuff,
Right.
especially if you're writing a song,
Right.
Well, I registered as a writer. I said, but did you register as a publisher? Well,
Right.
I didn't know I had to do that. Yes, you have to do that.
Explain to the audience the importance of the artist reading and understanding the terms of agreement, which is something you was just hitting on. And I'm going to say pertaining with you, with the services that they're paying for, with you as the producer.
Well, independent artists doesn't have the big budget like
Right.
major.
Right.
So what we do is we give a total cost, and we break that up 3 or 4 payments. In order to get started, this is a pot. You got to pay this pot.
And I'm going to show this.
Yeah.
Right. Because you put that here.
You go back to the deposit. Okay. You pay this deposit, and we'll start. Now, your next deposit is when you come in to do this particular thing. So, you know that, okay, when I'm coming in to whether record lead vocals or whatever, I'm paying my next deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Final deposit is when we got everything done and we're ready to go to mixing and mastering.
I love how you're BDMU Groove. How you all work with the clients. Like you say, you break things up in installments rather just some people do have this and that, but you all you're working with, because indie artists, again, they don't have the capital and the financial backing like most mainstream.
Everything don't happen in one day.
No. Oh no.
So for instance, it might take a couple of days to get the arrangement. All right, so you're giving us time. We're getting the arrangement together. That's giving you time to get your other finances together. We get the arrangement together. We get the backgrounds. We start doing the backgrounds. That might take maybe 1 or 2 sessions or whatever. Right. We're doing everything. We're doing in steps. So we allow clients to pay in steps as we go. As we complete one thing, then hey, it's time to do this, And once we get this done, okay, it's time for this. Time to bring in the other musicians,
Right.
And
right.
You got to be on schedule with that, because if we call a musician, it's okay. I can do it this day. I can do it this day. Okay. So we need to be able to know that. Okay, are you financially able to handle this part of it? Because if we call these musicians, and then knock it out. We can't come back to them and say, well, I'm still waiting on the client. No, can't do that.
This ain't the old school church, y'all. Right. This ain't where you hire a musician and then you gotta wait for service to end and they got to count the offering. This ain't that type.
Yeah, because the thing about it is they don't know you. They don't know all they know is, okay, BDMU do music, producers call me to do this thing. I don't care if the client don't have money. You call me to do this thing, so it's on you.
It's always on us, the producers.
We make sure that everything is in line. Now, if it's not, then that pushes everything back, because you got to realize that you musicians ain't just sitting around waiting for you to call them. Before I even call them, I already make sure that the finances part is taken care of.
That's right.
All you got is your name.
That's right.
You have to operate things in integrity.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna wait. You're not gonna send me files and you have to wait 3 and 4 days for
Right.
me to compensate you. No, as soon as you send me the
No,
file, it's there.
it's
You
there.
know,
That's right. That's right.
and that's how you keep, this is how you keep good relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you get favored with
Oh yeah.
different people. Because I've
Oh
had
yes.
people that not even charge me anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just do it because the work ethic, and I have worked up a rapport with them from
Right.
previous times. They know, okay, I
Right.
ain't got to worry about him. He's gonna take care of me. I'm gonna do this
Right.
on love. You can't
Yes, you
come
do.
into this thing thinking somebody gonna do something for free.
Woo!
Upon completion of the master, the producer would deliver the artist to master CDs, which
Right.
you normally do that. Now that's not. Those are the master CDs. Those are not master recordings. Now, masters are the actual original files with everything on it.
Right.
These are just master CDs, which would be everything that the duplications or whatever is made from. That's are
Right.
not. Those are not. Let's not get it mistaken as masters.
Right. Right.
Masters are the actual files and recordings that you have.
Yes. Everything.
Everything. Those
Everything.
are the
All of the
masters.
mistakes, artists, everything.
Those
Everything.
are the masters.
All of the takes. All of it. Yes.
Those are the masters.
I'm gonna pull up your second bullet point when it comes to contract. You said compensation.
And of course, that goes back to our production team that we normally don't charge by the hour. We charge like a fixed price or whatever. And then it says, at such time as payment is rendered by the artist, the recordings of the master will remain the property of the producer. That's
Mm.
very important because
Mm.
I've ran into such situation where we've completed like the full song with your car.
Right.
You pay it on the car, but you don't get the title till you keep paying for
You
it.
pay
Till
it
you pay
off.
it off.
Mm-hmm.
In the event of termination of this music producer contract, you know, whether it be the producer and the artist can't get along, or what they, outside of the scheduled time, or they decided, well, uh, I want to go with somebody else. You know,
Yeah.
it says the artist will pay the producer for all work completed and any work in progress.
Yes.
And also that goes under if the producer hadn't breached the contract as well.
Right.
Because that works on both sides. So
Right.
it protects both parties. It protects the
It
artist
does.
and it protects the producer.
I don't know anyone who comes into this field knowing everything. Everything
Right.
is still trial and error. So I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you brought that up, because that is one of the fears of most people when it comes to entering into the artistry. Am I going to be okie doke? Am I going to be taken? Am I going to be up there singing like a slave singing and don't get any, whatever. So I'm glad that you mentioned that it goes both ways.
And this is why, having contracts and agreement is so vital and important because a lot of times artists producers they go in like, and you always got to keep it business. I don't care who you dealing with. I don't care if it's
That's
your
right.
brother. I don't care if it's your cousin. I don't care if it's the best friend that you did stuff with years and years.
Right.
You know, you always got to keep it business because
Business is business.
so many times there are artists they start working with producers, they fall out. They had I guess a verbal agreement or whatever, and then the producers get mad and they hold on to their material, and now they got to start all over because the producers don't want to give up the master. But you can't make them because what? You don't have anything in writing,
You don't
and
have
then
anything.
and you can't go on the court talking about
You
well
sure
he said
can.
he's gonna do that. No, if it's in writing, everything has to be in print form. This is why when I negotiate But when I'm talking to radio people, when I'm talking to distribution people, anybody that I play music with, or pay for a service, I communicate a lot through email. They want to, would call me. I said, "Oh, well, I'll call you, but anything we discuss, we don't discuss through email.
It's going to be put in
Because
writing.
it's going to be put in writing."
I was with someone a week ago, and they mentioned, and they are an aspiring producer, and they were talking about how they are actually, their music is on a mainstream rap artist's album, and that it was a so-called friend of theirs who got them to hook up to do it, but they went into a verbal agreement rather than a written agreement. And so then now the music is actually playing on the radio, but of course, the person who was telling me this, they're not affiliated with the project, nothing. They get nothing because they actually trusted what they thought was their homeboy. And they said they went into a verbal type of thing. And when you look on, and I can't name the artist or anything, but when you look on their album, the only ones that's getting credits for anything is the homeboy that he was affiliated with, and the artists and their people. And so when he confronted the homeboy said, "I ain't never said that. I never agreed to that."
I've had that happen. Now, and I'm not gonna say names, but I had the exact thing happen where I was working with a homeboy of mine, and we were just doing like, I was sending tracks, he write lyrics and stuff, and then come to find out, I was watching a movie one time, and I heard that song. I'm like, hold up, that was an independent movie, mind you, but I said, hold up, that's my joint right there,
Ooh.
But if you look at the credits, it will say it's produced by them, produced by this, and so I didn't trip. I didn't call them out on that or anything. It just I just took it as a lesson. So, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, bought lessons. It's our bought lessons.
That was a bought lesson. And it's sad to say, but don't trust anybody because money changes people. I don't care who you are.
It brings out the true heart of a person.
It brings out the truth. You might got a very few people that operate integrity, but 95% of them.
They really don't. They really honestly don't. If
they gonna take the opportunity to move up and advance, and if you're ignorant, and that's maybe like a harsh word, but if you're ignorant not to know, then
right, that's just not knowing. Right.
Yeah, people
don't know.
taking advantage.
Right.
But that's what we're here for. That's what your platform is here for, and I really, really appreciate it because
I'm so glad that you said we need to do a producers 2 because you're right. It's so much that needs to be covered, and we are going to do a producers 3 in 2020. So this one is at the top of the year, this January, but we're going to bring y'all back because again, after doing this with and you said incorporate other producers, which we did, Mr. Arthur Rowland and Mr. Dupree Owens and myself. There's still so much that it needs to be hit on as far as educational is concerned and everything. I wanted to show the audience your takeaway because this is so powerful right here, your takeaway.
Yeah. What happened is back in the days, they was getting those advances and stuff.
Yes.
100 to 2,000, and they were just so happy to get their music out. Okay, my music out. I'm selling millions and millions of records. And I'm going all these places, and I got the fame. And then once you start getting all this, you start thinking about, hold up, what did I just do? I gave all my property away, and now, I was selling all these records, and at a point in time, that stuff gonna cap out.
Oh, it sure is.
It's gonna cap out, and then at the end of the day, okay, whatever money you made from that record, that's it. You can't make no more because this is why artists are now, they're really now fighting for their masters. Because they know, okay, there's value in that. That's value.
Right.
That's why Michael Jackson bought the Beatles vault. He
Right.
had bought their whole catalog or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this is why, I think Anita Baker, just got her
She
master.
won. She won.
Yes, she won her master.
She won. Mm-hmm.
Now with that being said, it's like she has a legacy that
She
because
does.
they're gonna be playing her stuff until
Oh,
even when she's
yes.
out, even when she's long gone.
Her children and children's children.
And so yeah, and you want that to stay in your family because that's
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 our
your
music
legacy that you
catalog.
built.
That's us. Right.
That's your music catalog, and it should
Yes.
trickle down to your family. That take care of your family.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to give that to somebody that really don't like, if you die, you just die.
Right.
And they gonna keep moving on to the next person. They gonna keep
That's
collecting.
right.
But in order to set your family up, take your family
Yes.
because you've put in years and years and years of work and writing and creating, and you didn't do all that so that you can give it away to somebody that really don't care about you like that.
And if you don't mind me interjecting here, the Clark sisters, they put their music out. I mean, their life story out earlier in the year, and it was such eye opening. Exactly what you're talking about. Twinkie Clark did. She signed away their whole music catalog for a Cadillac.
She did.
And the music, and really and truly, and because I'm in, y'all know I wear different hats, but because I'm a degreed psychologist, that the family really did have a right to go back and sue the record label because they took advantage of not only her not knowing, but they also took advantage of her intellectual disability. Some of the most creative people may sometimes have some form of intellectual disability, such as Elon Musk. Elon Musk, with the Bitcoin and all of that, he tells people that he has Asperger's, but he's a genius. He says he has Asperger's. So sometimes some people with Asperger's or a slight disability with intellect, when people realize that the Clark family, they should really go back and sue the record company because what they did is they took advantage of Twinkie Clark's her not knowing, as well as her intellectual disability, and gave her a Cadillac for her entire music catalog.
When you write songs, especially back in the days, like you just think, okay, I'm just writing some songs, not knowing that these songs can set you up for the rest of your life. This is your lifelong legacy. But
Right.
and you got to think about it, like they were kids.
Yeah.
They were kids.
Yeah.
They're not in a position to make those type of decisions. So you have these industry guys, industry sharks, I call them, say, well, they don't know this, so I'm going to take it.
Right.
Whatever that is. And then once they get older, and once they become icons and legends, this will really start making money, especially if they pass away.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many artists that have made more money from their records when they passed away.
Yeah.
And so
like artists, like artists. The last one, Thomas Kincaid, passed. He was already known, but now, his artwork.
Right. With all that being said, my takeaway is just make sure that artists and artists and producers, make sure you read. Make sure you read. Educate yourself. Don't just get in just produce. I mean that's fun in the craft, but spend a lot more time on learning this business so you can survive and have longevity in this business.
We had 3 awesome producers to come back and to share their wealth of knowledge with you, the audience, the producers too. We're going to have a producers three later on in the year. But this has been Mr. Glenn G.P. Piper of BDMU Groove Music Productions. This, whenever you see this logo, you can always affiliate it with him, with Mr. Glenn,
I'm
and with
always
his
rocking a
beautiful
fan.
wife.
You know, I'm always rocking a fan.
And his beautiful wife, Miss Sheila Moore Piper herself. And
Yeah.
can you tell the audience, the viewing audience, how they can contact you if they're interested in your services?
Oh yeah, they can go to our website, www.bdmugroovemusic.com. You can see some of our artists on there to see our style. But like I said, we tailor our style for each artist, so no artist is the same. They can email us at bdmugroove, no, bdm.ugroovemusic@gmail.com, bdm.ugroovemusic@gmail.com, or hit us on Facebook, Glenn GP Piper, BDMU Groove Music. On IG, it's BDMU Groove Music. Or if you want to hit me up, just Glenn GP23. And we will make sure that yeah. We always
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they are amazing. Like I said, since I've known them and their artistry, their productions, oh my gosh, thank you so much for again coming on and inspiring the Producers Too show with other, and then inviting other producers to get their perspective on this. And again, we're gonna have a Producers Three, and we're gonna bring on, and we're probably gonna add on like one or two more producers, and everyone is gonna talk about not only their expertise but different nuggets that each artist or producer or radio or whoever indie is watching, and you can learn and grow from. But I want to thank you because you have really given a lot of your time and your wisdom, and you shared it with other people. And I'm telling you, God is going to continue to bless and open doors, because he's not only telling you this is stuff that he's lived and he knows. And this is why BDMU Groove Music Productions is growing. It is going to continue to grow. And as they bless people, their blessings is going to continue to pour out for him and his production company. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for your availability. Thank you for sharing with the audience, because this is priceless. What you all have done on today, this is priceless. And please tell your beautiful wife, Miss Sheila Moore Piper, I say hello, give her my love. And
I would definitely do it. And shout out to other producers that are on here as well. Shout out to Arthur, and shout out to Dupree, my dude Dupree, and shout out to Christopher as well.
oh my goodness, but I appreciate you. Thank you for everything. This has been Shanrae's Indie Artist Panel, January 2022. And we will see you all in 3 months. We do a 3-month quarterly. We'll see you again. And we're going to bring the Producers 3 back on probably the end part of 2022. And so thank you. And I hope that you all have gained a wealth of knowledge from this quarter's panel. Thank you and good night.
Ooh.